Out of all the dead Capcom fighting game franchises, Rival Schools has been the one that piques my interest the most just because of how goofy this shit is. There's no world warriors competing to be the ultimate champion, supernatural beings seeking to rule the night. It's just a bunch of kids beating the shit out of each other, with what looks like some moves they saw from an anime the last Saturday morning. And this is precisely its charm. You might not relate to a master of Dark Hado, but you probably remember going to school and falling into one of the stereotypes there. This is what the series director Hideaki Itsuno intended, a setting that everyone has experienced before. And going to school here in Texas, the whole fighting part actually hits home, cause I couldn't ever take a piss without dudes scrapping behind me in the bathroom between each period. Itsuno introduced a colorful cast of students from different schools, each specializing in their own departments, and their exaggerated personalities along with movesets reflect that. An obvious inclusion, Sakura from Fortnite is in here. Itsuno claimed she was borrowed as insurance, in case the game wouldn't sell well on its own. Which wasn't the case since it moved a smooth 500k units on the PS1 and was deemed a success by Capcom, earning itself sequel status. But despite the moderate success, the series eventually fell into obscurity, cause Capcom really wasn't doing shit with it since the Dreamcast. Nothing major until a fan favorite Akira Kazama was added to Street Fighter V, with her brother Daigo appearing as an assist. So just like my morning would, interest in the series rose and fans were calling out to Capcom to dig it up out the grave and give it a new life. Some were even saying that Capcom should skip a Street Fighter 6 and instead put out new Rival Schools or Darkstalkers in its place, which is fucking insane. I'm glad Capcom doesn't listen to Twitter users. But after revisiting it, I and others for sure would be happy to let them know that interest for a new installment is there, and they could possibly hand the development off to another studio. But what was Rival Schools exactly about? What's so special that it deserves another shot in today's gaming landscape? The game looks dumb as fuck, but it's pretty fun. Rival Schools is a 3D fighting game designed with an emphasis on being easy to play. Controls are pretty straightforward. It utilizes a 4-button layout that's created with the PlayStation port in mind. It was also made to be button mashing friendly, so casuals could perform combos without worrying about inputs. The movement in this game actually isn't as janky as you think. Obviously, there's the basic shit like backdash, forward dash, crouch, jump. You can run by holding forward after dash, and this opens up a few options. You can tackle, slide, or jump kick, mix it up when rushing your opponent. And thanks to a third dimension, you can sidestep or ditch into the background and foreground by simultaneously pressing both kick buttons and holding a direction. Don't expect it to be as fleshed out as Tekken, but it adds more depth to the gameplay by giving you the ability to dodge the abundance of projectiles and avoid any attacks thrown at you. If you time it correctly with an incoming attack, you can step completely behind them for a free hit. Maybe pull off a nasty ass throw behind their back or something. Throws are a standard punch plus kick input. Everyone has a regular, low, and air one. The reach on the grab is short, but they're pretty hard to tech. But before a fight, you have to pick any combination of two characters and will face off another team of two. However, the fights themselves are in a 1v1 format, no tagging like in other team fighting games. Your partner shows up during the battle only if you land the team up attack, or Ki surrounds you on some Dragon Ball shit. And if your opponent is caught in the blast, well, they get jumped. Or you gotta sit there and watch you get massaged. It varies between characters. At the end of the round, no matter who wins or loses, both players are given a chance to switch between the two characters they chose in preparation for the next one. And fuck modern day technology has spoiled me. If you switch characters, a loading screen will pop up. Fair enough, this is 1998, it's not that long. But it does kill the flow a bit considering the pacing of the gameplay. Keeping up with the educational theme, tardy counters were a defensive mechanic in this game. They're like Street Fighter Alpha counters, but for stupid people like me. You didn't have to do any specific input after, you just simply blocked and followed up with any move to punish. However, they could also tardy counter you, and if you're playing against cheap ass input reading CPU, it's probably gonna happen a lot. Combos work similar to Marvel vs. Capcom, stringing light to heavier attacks and launching your opponent in the air to continue them. You could end them with an air throw before they recover, or finish with a flashy meter attack if you're decent with inputs, unlike me. Speaking about meters, this game gives you a shitload to work with, 9 in fact. It doesn't take much to get a full bar, and they carry over between rounds, so you don't have to be conservative with them at all. You can even taunt to gain some. These mirrors are called the guts gauge, and could be turned into burning vigor attacks, aka a beefed up special move, or a team up technique with your homie. Man, some of these specials are fucking hilarious. Raizo chucks you like a spiraling football. Natsu will come in and let you motorboat her titties, slaps your ass after she's done. No, that's not actually what it is, but these blocky ass polygons make it seem that way. Daigo steps in and punctures your opponent. This one's a classic. You hold the other dude back while Sakura comes and performs her raging demon. Never gets old. Hio slashes both the op and you. Neketsu will take his... What the fuck is this, bruh? His fucking kendo stick and smack you in the back with it 6 times as you unleash that built up pain and the kinetic energy upon your opponent. I told you this game was goofy, bro. And yeah, watching this outrageous shit is fun and all, but what exactly caused these school wars, right? A string of kidnappings and attacks have been occurring in Aoharu, affecting every local school in the city. Many conspiracies as to who's snatching the students and causing the ruckus begin to circulate. But no, it's not the fucking Chupacabra. It's a Chupadada, and just as high, a prestigious new school under his command. The other students in the district don't know that though, and the lack of trust between them causes them to rumble. It's cool how the story mode is set up. It's divided to around 7 chapters for each school, and each route takes place in the same canonical story. You get to see it from everyone's perspective with these short, visual novel type cutscenes. And yo, the loading screens were 90s as hell and deserve their own mention. I didn't mind the loading times cause I never knew what would get thrown at me next. It was always interesting to see. Some were trippy, some were abstract, some didn't even look like they belonged in the game. I fuck with it. Depending on the character, you'll fight a mini boss early on in their stories. If you manage to beat them, you'll automatically advance to chapter 6 or 7, skipping most of the fights with the other students. But good luck with that, Vato. Your attacks barely do damage against them, and they're aggressive as fuck. The story isn't a masterpiece, it can be pretty ridiculous. Sometimes they really reach for reasons to get them to fight, but that's just me nitpicking, cause the game doesn't actually take itself seriously. Stuff like, I'm too angry and disgusting first, I need to sock you in the mouth first. Then, I'm sorry for getting all riled up. They play that shit like 20 times, but it is the type of cheesiness you would expect from the story. At least it's not some corny pretentious shit like Mortal Kombat's. Fuck NetherRealm. The main plot revolves around Batsu and his search for his kidnapped mom. He's joined by his buddies Hinata and Kyosuke, and together they manage to annoy the shit out of each other while making their way to Justice High. They run into Big Daddy Raizo, and finally back from buying cigarettes, he reveals to Batsu that he's his long-lost father. Batsu is pissed understandably that free sausage McMuffin wasn't gonna claim itself. So, they get down to business and try to fuck him up, but he fucks them up. And he snatches Kyosuke's scrawny ass. God damn, this is embarrassing. May as well have took Hinata's shoes too. They get up, beat the brainwashing out some other Justice High victims, and eventually catch up with Raizo. They're forced to once again fight him, but also Kyosuke since he's brainwashed too. Brainwash doesn't even sound like a real word anymore. Finally, we fuck him up, but then Kyosuke warns us of a greater evil behind us. Out of the shadows, a tall man named Hio steps out and reveals himself to be the mastermind behind all the brainwashing, and the true genius in control of Justice High. His hair is gorgeous too. He was controlling Raizo like a puppet this whole time and demanded his younger brother Kyosuke to kidnap Batsu's mom, to which Kyosuke regrets. Raizo was brainwashed by Hio, his nephew, which is Kyosuke's brother, which means Kyosuke and Batsu are cousins, but since Batsu is Raizo's son, that means that Raizo is Kyosuke's uncle, and yeah, Hio and Batsu are cousins. Man, what a fucking family reunion. Luckily, everyone's here to squash the beef. Hio is defeated, and Batsu reunites with his mother. She tells Batsu to forgive his father because his intentions were only to create a proper school where the students could live free of. And then he got brainwashed Batsu because he had to break away from some ninja clan to protect him. Man, I don't fucking know, this story is silly anyways. Batsu accepts and everything goes back to normal. The students are all safe, the events have passed, and Batu gets his ass whooped at home cause he's a dumbass who's flunking all his classes. Life goes on. Cute story. Now towards the end of each character's story mode though, you could get one of two different endings. If you defeat Raizo with a team-up attack and utilize the power of friendship, Great Value Sephiroth reveals himself to be behind everything, and you achieve that character's true ending. But if you don't, the truth never comes to light, and while the abductions may have stopped, everyone in Al-Haru continues to live in fear and confusion as to what really led to the events. So who are these textbook warriors you can play as? Let me drop a brief summary of each cast member, each colorful and unique in their own way. Although, you can skip this part if it drags. Taiyo Academy is your typical Japanese high school, but a bit more carefree. They don't really give a fuck if you wear uniforms and all that, and they promote individuality. The game's protagonist is Batu, a misunderstood delinquent who transfers to the school in search of his mother. Someone invaded his crib and kidnapped his mom, so he goes looking for clues at school. Yeah, that shit doesn't really make sense, but he got leads to Justice High from here, a shady new school created by his father Raizo. So our protagonist sets his sights and embarks on his journey, running multiple fades in the process. Kyosuke is one of those anime motherfuckers that kids with glasses think they look like, holding them with his right hand every time he poses. He's slimy as hell, helping his older brother Hio brainwash people while supposedly being on the opposing side. Or at least was before their encounter later in the story where he has a change of heart. Hinata is Sakura's childhood friend and your typical cheerful anime girl in a school uniform. The same uniform as Ibuki's in Street Fighter 3 actually, they go to the same school. She learned her techniques and kicks from Ken Master's online fighting class, before he fell off that is. Even though Batu doesn't want her to, she joins him on his quest cause she wants to protect their school. Where are the cops, bro? And I'm just gonna say, I really like her flashy kicks. They're a cool contrast from her school attire, and reminiscent of popular sneaker silhouettes from the 90s. It's pretty accurate, considering when I went to middle school, the boring ass uniform shirt and pants was something you had to wear. So everyone would try to show their sense of style and what shoes they wore. Yeah, I had a shoe game in 2016. Gorin Academy is a private school for the sporting elite, with the only requirement to enroll being extraordinary athletic ability. Outside of sports, they have beef with Giru High. Shoma is a baseball fanatic, carrying his bat everywhere in case he needs to practice his form or bash someone's sculling. He has a short temper and hates losing, but really isn't a bad guy once you get past him assaulting people. He's also self-conscious about his height that Natsu always teases him for, which is pretty fucked up. My short kings deserve more respect, but they both secretly have a crush on each other, so that's a dub for Shoma. Natsu is a smart and tall volleyball player, childhood friends with Hinata and Sakura. She's always standing up to people who punk the weak and is admired by her peers. When club members of her school were attacked, she gathered Shoma and Roberto to aid her in the investigation. Roberto is a quarter Brazilian, cause of course Capcom needed the soccer player to be. Usually chill and a loner, but likes to help people in need. He has dreams of going pro, but for now he's stuck breaking up fights between his classmates. Civic High School is in a harbor town, near high-rise Western living quarters. Many of its students are children of American military officers, politicians, and high-profile figures. Basically, a shitload of rich white people in Japan. Roy is a straight-up Terry Bogard ripoff with Ken moves, and it's pretty fucking great. He says shit like, and he likes to wear designer brands, got a nice watch, is a star quarterback, and studies politics. Jock type shit, he has hella hoes. Also mentioned, because Roy's grandfather lost his leg in World War II, he's always talking shit about Japanese people. Bruh, you don't go to another country and call them foreigners. Are you fucking stupid? But don't worry, after the events of the game, he goes to Harvard and grows up to become the president of the United States. He learns from his experiences in Japan and changes his way of thinking to improve US relations with the country. Yes, that for real happens. Tiffany is a bubbly cheerleader who joins up with Roy and Bowman in their investigation. She's an extremely skilled boxer as well and likes to party on the weekends. Her story revolves around her crushing on Roy and not caring much about the future, just going with the flow of life. Bowman is a stern and religious man. He's currently training to become a preacher, but he's also an excellent boxer. He prefers to not engage in violence, but will still put up a fight for his friends and family when necessary. And goddamn does he have hands for a pacifist. It's fucking annoying to fight with all his bobbing and weaving. I would not miss a single day of this man's Sunday service. He prays to God for forgiveness after every single battle, hoping he doesn't burn in hell for it. Guido High is like your average Florida high school, full of unhinged individuals. It's located near a river in the industrial district, so there's probably something in the water. It's an all-male school, with its motto being gang morals and preservance, but was once a sophisticated academy. If you first heard about rival schools through Akira, you probably would have thought she was the main protagonist of the series, but nah, she just had her own subplot in the first game. When the school gang's leader goes missing, she transfers to Guido under disguise, claiming to be his younger brother in search of him. She investigates with Edge and Gon, and after many encounters with the other schools, rescues Daigo from the captivity of Justice High. Then, big Metroid moment, and probably the most memorable scene from the game. She's revealed to be a gentle girl behind the intimidating biker getup, putting up a night the entire time. We get a wholesome ending, where despite this, Edge and Gon still accept her as their fellow brethren. Everyone's happy. But for real though, it's a no-brainer as to why she's basically the series' mascot, and is still so remembered despite not having a game since before I was even born. She's fun as hell to play, and her iconic biker design along with the unmasked one is just peak character design, if you ask me. Edge is edgy of course, but the insufferable kind. He totes around his favorite army knife and keeps a collection of blades under his jacket, just a straight up menace. Like bro, he just likes to walk around and shank people. That's pretty fucked up. You can't be doing that at school, dummy. Not only that, but his voice is incredibly obnoxious. Oh my god man, shut the fuck up! Bitch. Gon? I don't even know man. He eats a lot. He's a member of the sumo club, even though he skips it every day. The official manuals of the game pretty much just call him a stupid fat ass. At least in his ending, it shows that Akira influenced him to start studying and finally reading. Hopefully we see my boy in college. Akira's older brother and the boss of every Guido High, Daigo, became playable in the PS1 port. Despite the gang affiliation, he saw off as a man of honor, keeping peace while he was present, and never the type to kick a man while he's down. When the kidnappings of Justice High started, and people grew aware and afraid of them, he set out to face them by himself, but well, they put his ass in the trunk. I like his character design, he's super clean, and you can tell he's a man about his business. Justice High is a boarding school of the super elite. Their goal is to change the personal abilities and mind of the next generation that will lead Japan, unquote. It's strict as fuck, and the students are not allowed to return home until they graduate. They stay at the dormitories and have no control over their own schedule or lifestyle. And this school looks like Guantanamo Bay. The fuck, bro? Hideo is a Japanese literature teacher and a 9th Dan master of karate, who once used to call a dojo his home. After his father passed away, a quarrel over the estate began, and his inheritance was taken away from him. He moved far away to live on his own, and decided to put his martial arts past aside to become a teacher. He along with Kyoko are brainwashed by Justice High into kidnapping the other students in the district. He's also the Shoto of the game. I don't know why, but it's pretty fucking hilarious. Kyoko is the school's nurse, an intelligent and energetic woman that is largely favored by the student body. While she seems professional at work, she has a careless side and loves drinking sake to unwind. In Hideo's ending, his poor social skills and lack of game aside, she decides to accept his proposal, and the two will go on to marry. That's nice. Also, she's bad as fuck. Then there's Sakura. They actually do somewhat tie her into the story, and this takes place before Alpha. She was childhood friends with Hinata and Natsu, and when she hears they went out to fight some great evil, she wanted a piece of it in hopes of training for when she meets him. You know, Mr. I Fought Everyone. Confirmed canon by the way for all you lore nerds. The game got a second disc too, named Evolution. It was like bonus content, a few mini games and shit, different versus modes, plus a few characters got some of their specials replaced. You were able to create your own character, but it got cut from the Japanese version. The first mode is a tutorial where Neketsu Hayato teaches you how to play the game, and they really do show you every single mechanic. Upon completing each lesson, they give you a report card scoring your performance, and once you master the gameplay system, you get to personally beat Mr. Hayato's ass. Other than that, there's the mini games, the sport ones from the Goran High kids. I mean, what can I even say? They're simple and fun, I guess. Roberto's soccer games are funner than any FIFA I played, and it's neat seeing the ads for Alpha 3 and Resident Evil 2 in Shoma's ballpark game. Natsu's is the volleyball one, obviously. You gotta hit these chibi heads of the game's characters, but if you hit Rizos, the shit goes like. However, there's one forbidden minigame, one that only the most ultimate gamers can unlock and experience. In this hidden minigame, where you visit Kyoko's office and you get to watch her massage you. Damn, I shouldn't have upscaled this game, it looks so damn hideous close up. I guess this was supposed to be suggestive, but it looks pretty fucking stupid. I mean, she's just flailing her arms around. Japan is fucking wild, bruh. Don't get me wrong, Kyoko can get it, but this is just weird. I guess if you're a horny teenager in 99 and you got this game for your birthday, then this will be the type of shit you have to work with. Something about this game that's never brought up, and I was surprised to find out existed, is the Japanese exclusive dating sim. Understandable, since minus the mini games, it was never localized to the West. Capcom didn't think it was worth the effort to translate. It was made in only 3 months during the development of the PS1 port, and was created to attract people who weren't typically into fighting games. And damn did it do that. In the one-disc update of Rival Schools released in Japan 1999, they really had the fucking fighting game mode sitting backseat behind the dating sim when you booted it up. Fuck bro, the FGC really is poverty. But really, from what I've read and seen, it was surprisingly fleshed out. You create your own character and go through an entire school year, participating in different activities that would affect which moves you would end up with after the term ends. You run into the game's cast, and befriending them would also cause certain outcomes. Level up your stats in class, take tests, meet entirely new characters, go on vacation with them, dance with them, hug them, date them. God damn, this mode is incredibly packed. It's hard to believe that all this stemmed from the original fighting game. This is also where Akira's maid outfit in Street Fighter V came from, by the way. It's so full of fan service, actually reminds me of some other shit I played. Persona's huge popularity is because of multiple reasons. The gameplay, the narrative, the music, but a huge part of modern Persona's success is the school life social aspects. And they got people interested in turn-based RPGs that otherwise wouldn't fuck with the genre. So couldn't the same thing be done for Rival Schools? Of course, not on the same scale of success, but a fleshed out sim seems like it could work today. I mean, going by the Persona fanbase, you tell me Capcom has a potential audience of Coomers that are waiting to not only play as, but also date their schoolgirl waifus in the fighting game dating sim mix? And they're not capitalizing on this? Man, Capcom is dumber than a bitch. Give me the director's seat. I'll single-handedly revive the series and do it the justice it deserves. This game is already weeby as fuck. I mean, Akira's team-up attack is a straight-up Evangelion reference. You know what? I sound stupid. This is pretty much it as far as the first game goes. So what happened next? Well, like I said, the game got an arcade sequel in 2000 and was ported to a Dreamcast the next year. It was called Project Justice, and this is Rival School's title in North America. Because of a terrible tragedy that happened at the time, I don't have to name it because you probably know what it is, since they didn't want to use a name that alludes to violence at school. Even though the arcade run was considered alright, unfortunately, the unrecognizable branding, along with the time that it came out on Dreamcast, is brought up as likely reasons to why it flopped. Not necessarily being a bad game, since there wasn't any complaints about it, and reviewers believed it successfully built on what made rival schools unique in the first place. I mean, a few dudes I've seen online mention that they had no idea a second game even came out until years later. Sucks that killed it. This is an entirely different installment, and there's just so much to talk about. So I'm not gonna cover it right now because this video is already stupid long. But from my time playing it, it's better in every way from the original, gameplay and presentation wise. I'd be down to probably revisit it in the future though, if I don't end up quitting YouTube or something. As for what came after, our boy Batsu will go on to fight alongside other Capcom All-Stars and Tatsunoko vs Capcom. That other Capcom vs game on the Wii that Kanye was gonna sample from. I was playing it with my little nephew the other day, and it's pretty fun too. Batsu was featured in yet another crossover, Project X Zone, as a solo unit, and appeared in Iron Fist Ultimate Marvel vs Capcom 3 ending as a member of his new Heroes for Hire. Also, Tiffany was in Deadpool's ending. She was wiped out alongside the entire state of Cleveland because his party went too hard. Should have been New Jersey instead. Kyosuke made an appearance in the classic crossover Capcom vs SNK 2, and he brought his homies with him. I really love his level 3. You see Batsu and Hinata perform their signature moves but in beautiful sprite work, while Kyosuke does his anime ass glasses pose. Itsuno also directed this one, so you know he had to show love to his babies. For sure the best super in the entire game, outside of Yun. Ever since Sakura's guest appearance, Rival Schools has been established as taking place in the greater Street Fighter universe, finally being proven official by Akira's character episode in Street Fighter V, where her and Sakura reminisce over the events of the first game. But even before this, Hinata and Tiffany were in the background of Kanzuki Beach, and we see Edge and Gon in the back of Rival Riverside chilling. Edge looking lanky as hell, Gon is grubbing on some rice balls. And before this, Akira was actually supposed to appear alongside Batsu in Capcom Fine All-Stars, but that shit got trashed. Then she was supposed to appear in Marvel vs Capcom Infinite, but that shit was trash. Hideki Itsuno was already on some legendary shit before this, but he will go on to direct other Capcom titles like Power Stone, the Capcom vs SNKs, Dragon's Dogma, and Devil May Cry 3, 4, and 5. He's expressed interest in making a new installment in the series, saying he wants to give Batsu and his buddies a proper graduation. But seeing how Capcom respond to Hideki Kamiya's Beautiful Joe 3 offers, that shit's not gonna happen, bro. At least he's got Dragon's Dogma 2, baby. Overall, I'd absolutely love to see Capcom bring this back, and with the recent spike in discussion towards it, I know I'm not alone. Akira was definitely a hit with her appearance in Street Fighter V, so this probably has them thinking, right? I really do think this series could work in the present day with some modern tweaks. The characters have potential to be popular with their creative designs, and the battle system could always be evolved into something greater with today's technology. Bring back that school sim too, shit, there could be a formula here. Maybe if Capcom was pumping out fighting games like the early 2010s. And hey, if I'm being too optimistic, and Capcom doesn't believe an entire new game would turn a profit, how about they do another Capcom Fighting collection, but with 3D graphics and include Rival Schools, Star Gladiator, Power Stone, Fighting Layer, all that. Or fuck, add Daigo or Hinata to Street Fighter 6 as DLC. Come on bro, me and the other 10 Rival School fans are fucking hungry. But well, that's enough of this mess of a video. And let me know what you think in the comments, I'd love to discuss. Peace, and thank you very much for watching.